Hello students, welcome to SWAYAM course. I am Dr. Ajay Kumar Gupta from Sri Rawatpur Sarkar University. So, today we are going to discuss about pollution and its control, type of environmental pollution, that is module under paper power generation technology. So, after completing this particular module, you should be able to understand type of different pollution and its classification as well as its impact of environment, plant and human beings. So, also some of the monitoring method from the different pollutants. What is pollution? So, pollution is the undesirable change in physical, chemical and biological characteristics of soil, air and water, which again cause adverse impact on living organization. So, what is difference between pollutants and pollution? Pollution is the contaminants in the nature environment which cause adverse change in the human being and or environment. Then what is pollutants? Pollutants is the component of pollution which may be either heat or noise or light or any other chemical, biological substance. So, pollution is often classed as point source or non-point sources based on the source of release. So, generally pollutants are classified into degradable pollutions and non-degradable pollutants based on its degradation nature, that is decomposition of different pollutants substance. So, what is degradable pollutants? These are all naturally occurring organic substance which can decompose or removed or consumed through biological or microbial action. So, rapidly degradable or non-persistent pollutants which are very faster degradation like animal and plant material, slowly degradable or persistent pollutants are very hard to degrade and it takes generally long time. So, example synthetic components and radioactive material which takes years together to convert from its parents component to degradable degradation components. Classification of pollutants. So, generally these pollutants are classified based on the phases which is where this pollutants takes place. Example solid, or this is solid garbage or rubbish or ashes which is in the forms of solid material, whereas liquid pollutants are generally liquid from which is wastewater, whereas other major important pollutants, gaseous pollutants which are likely different gaseous component like carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, sulfur dioxide, nitrogen oxide and ozone. So, there are different waste which is without weight like radioactive, heat and noise, which also cause different impact on environment as well as human health. So, these different solid, liquid, gaseous pollutants are categorized again under biodegradable and non-degradable pollutants based on the medium of occurrence, that is different pollutants. This is different components, chemicals which occur in different mediums, again which is classified into air pollution, where water pollution, soil pollution, noise pollution, this is classified based on the occurrence of pollution on different source, that is medium. So, even radiographic pollution, thermal pollution and industrial pollution. Now, we are going to discuss about air pollution. So, air pollution refer to release of different pollutants into the air environment which is causing determining of human health. So, generally under air pollution there are various harmful gases, dust, smoke in the atmosphere, which is result of various ortho activities. So, generally point source pollutions are coming from the single source of origin, and whereas non point source of pollution, particularly in the air pollution, is come from many sources like mixture of car, factories, emitters, where what is primary and secondary air pollutants. Generally speaking, the primary pollutants are directly emitted from the process such as ash from volcanic eruption, whereas secondary pollutants which emits from the primary pollution, which is result interaction among the pollutants, example photochemical smokes. So, when we compare the sources, that is primary and secondary air pollutants, maximum emission is occur from natural resource. So, this particular graph depicts different pollutants, that is particularly air pollutants from different emission from the sources. What is air pollutants? This is mainly gaseous particulates contains that are present in the atmosphere. There are different major gases like sulfur dioxide, nitrogen dioxide, ozone, carbon monoxide, volatile organic component, which is exist in the atmosphere due to different human and anthropological activities. Other than major pollution like hydrogen sulfide, hydrogen fluoride, and gaseous form of metal, which is emitted from different sources like fossil fuels, power plant, smelters, industrial boilers, petroleum refinery and manufacturing facilities, as well as area and mobile sources. Students, here we are going to discuss about transport and diffusion of air pollution, which takes place in stratosphere. If you see this whole transportation of these pollutants, generally these pollutants emits from different sources, that is particularly from nature and man-made emission like different pollutants like nitrogen oxide, sulfur dioxide, mercury, organic carbons and ammonia. Again it transfer through different process and reach or transported in the clouds or atmosphere, then again it forms a cloud in the form of wet dry forms. In this condition it makes different impact on different living system like visibility impairment, then after deposition again during the natural process like rainwater and other related activities, it again reach to the groundwater or stratosphere. Again it reach to the natural resources and affect the wildlife and human health. In this point of the time, this whole world is impact due to different pollutants. This is either maybe human activity or other nature activity, which directly impact on different environmental condition, including health of human being, animal and plant. So, what is the status of air pollution in India? If we concerned about air pollution generally, particularly matters sulfur dioxide, particulates matter, sulfur dioxide, nitrogen oxides, carbon monoxide and ozone, these are the major primary air pollutants which impacts or negative pose the problem of human being. So, generally these different pollutants are measured periodically in different area, particularly cities, urban, semi-urban and other location, industrial area, and which is compared with the standard, which is framed by National Amplified Air Quality Monitor System, which is compared, and accordingly the management practice will be adopted. So, according to World Health Organization in India, there are 37 cities which is affected through these different pollutants, particularly particulates matter. 10 which is mostly affected city like Delhi, Raipur, Gwalior and Lucknow, which are listed in top 10 cities as per WHO survey. In India, generally these air pollutants are often complex. So, what are the major air pollution sources in India? Mainly major sources are likely fuel wood, biomass burning, fuel adulteration, vehicle emission and traffic congestion, and autumn and wind month air, that is during autumn and winter month the large scale crop reduce burning, which is part of agriculture practices, poses high serious threats to air pollution. What are the different pollutants and its impact on different environmental and human health? These measures air pollutants like particular matters which is generated through different processes and form like solid particle, soot, lead, asbestos, sea salt, sulfuric acid droplets, which directly impact and create toxic and cause respiratory disorders. Whereas sulfur dioxide generally emits from different processes like combustion of fossil fuel. Again, this have various impact on both environment as well as human health. So, here acid precipitation which causes adverse effect on respiratory disorders and visual impairment. Similarly, nitrous oxide also generates from fossil fuels during burning, which again causes greenhouse effect and respiratory disorders. Whereas other pollutants like carbon monoxide, which is emits during the internal combustion process, and again this is one of the greenhouse gases and cause respiratory disorder as well as cardio problems. Similarly, ammonia, which is mainly pollutants generated from fertilizer industry, which make negative impact on respiratory disorder, skin and eye irritation. Other air pollution like ozone, which is also result of radiation of sunlight on air conditioning, hydrocarbon and nitrous oxide, which make photochemical smokes and cause respiratory disorders and cardio problems. So, other than these major pollutants, there are different heavy metals which is emitted through automobile exhaust, cosmetic, firewood burning. These different metals which is source of various process like combustion of fuels and nickel plating, metallurgical process which against cause allergy and detrimental activities. So, these pollutants also causes poisoning, allergy change. There are different emissions standards which are framed by different government agencies to manage air pollution in different countries as well as in India or world. So, in 2005 India adopted emission standard of Bharat Stage 4 for vehicle, which is equivalent to Euro 4 European standard for vehicle emission. The old pre-2000 vehicles and even pre-1992 vehicles are still on Indian streets, which is causing a serious air pollution problem. Whereas Air Prevention and Control of Pollution Act was passed in 1981 to regulate air pollution, and there have been some measurable improvement. Environmental Performance Index ranked India 141 out of 180 countries as per 2016 ranking. So, which is seriously pose what is the status of India in air pollution states, which need to be addressed very seriously. So, these different classes of pollutants exist in atmosphere, which causes negative impact on environmental as well as human health. So, there are different monitoring methods to identify or monitor these qualification of this particular air pollution. So, different monitoring methods is employed for the source as well as ambient air quality monitoring. Like source point, source there are sulfur dioxide, nitrogen dioxide, carbon monoxide and particulates matter, which is monitored in point source, whereas ambient qualities, that is ambient air qualities monitor as per the WHO monitoring protocol. There are sulfur dioxide, nitrous oxide, SPM, which is specially parameter to monitor and what is the level of these pollutants in the atmosphere should be recorded periodically. So, according to this data we can assess this range or level of these pollutants in the atmosphere and necessary management practices or steps to be adopted. Greenhouse effect. So, greenhouse effect gas effects mainly caused due to different smoke and particulates pollution. India has low per capita emission of greenhouse gases, but the country as a whole in the third largest after China and United States. A 2013 study on non-smokers has found that India have 30% lower lungs function compared to Europeans. So, this is like kind of comparison of different countries and India greenhouse gases emission rate. Water pollution is defined as the water quality effect by human activity and its declining due to urbanization, industrial production, pollution growth and climate change. There are many different causes of water pollution, generally categorized into two major sources, that is pointed sources of pollution and non-point sources. What is point sources of pollution? We will discuss earlier. This contaminant that enters a waterway through a discrete conveyance such as pipe. This mainly example like sewage treatment plant, a factories or city storm drain. So, what are non-point source of water pollution? So, these non-point sources pollutions are diffuse contamination that does not originated from single discrete sources, which is originated from different sources of activities and which again affect or reach different water system, either underground water or surface water system. The leaching out of nitrogen component from agricultural land which has been fertilized, it is a typical example. Nutrients run off in storm water form, sit flow over an agriculture field or forest, also another example under non-point source of pollution. What are the different water pollutants? So, the water pollution generally classified into plastic waste, chemical, pharmaceutical components, pesticides, fertilizer, detergents, which is mainly nitrogen, phosphorus, which is released from various industry as well as commercial activities. So, what are the type of different a water pollution, which mainly water pollution are classified into biological and nutrients and physical form. Mainly biological are infectious pathogens, oxygen demanding waste. Now we will see here focus our module in air and water pollution and its control under this paper, that is power generation and pollution and its control. Under this particular module we will going to discuss inside the source of air and water pollution and its index and the effect of this water pollution and air pollution on various environmental and human health. Air pollution control technologies and also familiar with the basics of water pollution and its control measures and regulatories and different alternate technology solution to control air and water pollution. Before going to in detail, these air pollutions and water pollutions are very important issue in present situation due to various industrialization and commercialization activities throughout global. So, what is the air pollution? Air pollution occurs when harmful substances like particulates and biological molecules are introduced into the earth. So, there are different air pollution sources which is mainly from 4 different categories, which is likely industrial, commercial activities and agriculture activities and natural sources. So, broadly these air pollutions emits from artificial activities like industrial, associated activities and natural activities. Throughout global there is an uncontrolled pollution, that is pollution emission into the environment due to these different activities, and we are seeing what are the different stress level, that is water and water level stress in India and different countries. So, if you discuss about the major or more pollution, that is different pollution in the cities are categorized like in throughout the world. Delhi is the placed as first position for the pollution level, that is followed by next is China and other different countries. So, 5 most pollutants rivers are also listed with which is Ganga and different rivers which are the major pollution in river. Now, what are the air pollution source in India? So, there are different activities like exhaust emission from vehicle, industrial emission, congestion traffics in almost all cities in India, and using crude means of producing fuel like burning firewood and biomass, and use of alternate fuel leading to unburned and or practically or partially burned particles, parts, that is particles contributing to air pollution. So, air pollutions pollutants are airborne particles and gaseous, mainly like gas, carbon dioxide, lead, ground level ozone, nitrogen dioxide, particulates matter, sulfur dioxide, which are mainly emitted from different activities. These pollutants are characterized in 2 different classes, that is primary pollutants and secondary pollutants based on its origin. So, primary pollutants are emitted directly from the source like vehicle or industry, whereas secondary pollutants which are produced in the atmosphere which when certain chemical reaction takes place among primary pollutions. So, smoke is another reaction where the oxygen mixture of gaseous and particles is produced with strong sunlight triggers photochemical reaction in the atmosphere. So, ozone is the major component of photochemical smoke. So, what are the air pollutants and its sources? As mentioned earlier, air pollutants emits from different sources and some various reaction takes place in atmosphere and its spread throughout various places cause negative impacts. So, these pollutants are mainly carbon monoxide, sulfur dioxide, hydrogen carbons and ozone other particulate matter. So, generally carbon monoxide which are produced by the activity of incomplete burning of carbon containing fuels, petrol and coal and wood, whereas sulfur dioxide which is mainly emitted from fossil fuels burning, a large portion is produced by power stations, metal smelters and burn sulfur containing coals, which is very high percentage in air pollution level, whereas ozone which is produced by the reaction of oxygen gas with free atoms of oxygen which are formed from the reaction between nitrogen oxides and hydrocarbons in sunlight. So, other emitters like to reduce incineration factories, diesel vehicle constructions sites and burning of coal and charcoal which are emits different types of pollutants into the environment. So, what is the greenhouse effect and global warming? So, greenhouse effect is mainly due to release of different pollutants into the environment which negatively affect the whole environmental system. So, this is very important concern amongst the environmental effect. Scientists and different groups includes public how we should reduce the effect or reduce the occurrence of different greenhouse gases. So, before going into greenhouse effect, what is greenhouse effect, which is very important? These generally form the sunlight infrared radiation emitted and it is reached through to the atmosphere when greenhouse gases like water vapor, carbon dioxide, methane which are emitted through various activities and occurrence in the atmosphere. These infrared rays absorbed in the atmospheric layer, then it collect the heat energy and hold in the atmosphere which delay the passage back out of atmosphere. This is infrared rays it prevented to delay the reflect back of these infrared rays from the atmosphere which increase the temperature of atmosphere. What are the health and environmental effect of air pollution? So, these pollutants like carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide and particulate matters which creates different environmental and health problem to various level. So, like to interference with photosynthesis and carbon hydrates production, and in health aspects it creates cancer, asthma, brain defects, eyes, respiratory system, irritation and genetic mutation also inside the room condition. These pollutants create sick building syndromes. This is major issue where proper ventilation or there is no maintenance, proper maintenance. These sick buildings syndromes cause several impact in health impact on human being. So, also these different pollutants causes acid rain and different photochemical smokes which we have discussed earlier. So, this due to rain, acid rain, it causes a impact on solid qualities, building materials, it causes corrosion in building and materials, causes negative impact that is toxic to forest and aquatic life system. Prolonged exposure of high carbon monoxide concentration cause unconsciousness and even death. What are the source and impact of air pollution on environment health? There are different pollutants which are characterized in different level, that is carbon monoxide, sulfur dioxide, nitrogen dioxide, ozone, lead and particulates matter, which are emitted from different sources, causes different level of health and environmental impact, which is listed in the table. So, to control the air pollution, we should monitor what is the different concentration level of these pollutants in atmosphere or different location, which is wherever this industrial area or transport area, wherever you have to continuously monitor the quality of air. So, that purpose control measure can be adopted. The pollution control board, this is Center Pollution Control Board, given the air quality standard, that is National Ambient Air Quality Standard, which is applicable in industry, residential, rural and other area where the standard limit has been listed. There are different parameters, that is starting from the like particulates matter, nitrogen dioxide, sulfur dioxide and heavy metal. There is a description of standard limit. So, these standard limit is guideline described or derived from different research and other particular activities, and these standards has been fixed, and whatever industry or residential place, this national ambient air quality standard should be maintained. So, in order to maintain the good environment qualities, after identifying the pollution level, we should control the pollution. So, to control the pollution, we need a appropriate control technologies. So, these technologies depends on the environment and engineering, that is design process and economic factor and pollutants types. So, before introducing any technologies, we should identify the pollution, that is expected pollution for various industry and different place due to various anthropogenics activities as well as industrial activities. So, actually we have to select the appropriate method to control the emission of different air pollutions. What are the different air pollutions control measures? Air pollutions are mainly controlled in source, that is substitution of raw material, that is alternate raw material uses for different activities can reduce the emission of air pollution and process modification. Some alternate process can be impact and control the emission of different chemicals, pollutants and modification of existing equipments. So, there are different equipments which have capacity to control or remove the release of different air pollution. So, second category is pollution control equipment. So, these kind of devices which remove the particulates contamination and gaseous contamination, and other method includes diffusion of pollutants in air and development of vegetation or showing that it separation of particular area from industry. So, these different correction methods and control measures will help in control the air pollution in any place. Controlling measures of air pollutant particular area from the industry. So, these different corrections method or control measures which help in control the air pollution in any place. So, controlling measures of air pollutants in industry establishment characterized in two different classes, which is gaseous pollutants and particulate pollutants. These different processes or technologies employed to remove these kind of gaseous pollutants. So, these are the different methods to control pollution and its effect in the environment. So, this is the lecture which includes pollution and its control. Thank you for listening.